Deleted session, July 26, 1978. Now, you both handled the entire interview situation well. Robert allowed himself to act according to his nature, in the circumstances as they were presented. This was highly important. You added encouragement at the end of the evening, resulting in our session was of great benefit. I want to discuss some of these issues because they are related to your questions. When Robert does not see people, his reasons are sometimes much like yours, topside. In effect, of course, he becomes afraid to see people. He sees himself at such times in an inferior physical situation, so that it seems to him that physically he is not a good specimen, but obviously flawed. So it seems to him that he does not see people because he is ashamed of his physical condition. When no effort is made now and then to encounter strangers or guests of that nature in any position of relative authority, then Robert does not question his feelings or beliefs directly. The fact is, of course, that the feelings existed before the physical condition. With the interview, Saturday's planned visit, and even with the connection with the owner, you both decided to do a bit more open in that regard. The encounter with the reporter, for example, on quite practical levels, represented a shot in the arm, in that it quickly showed Robert that he is quite able to deal with such situations, that he handles them well, and that sense of confidence can then be used as new information to help break down old beliefs of inferiority. This does not mean, of course, that you must helter-skelter have a burst of interviews of visitors, but after 3 or 4 encounters with people of any supposed authority, Robert is then in a position to make new decisions on such matters, based on current knowledge and his own preferences, and he will no longer avoid such adventures out of fear. He yielded to the impulse to say yes for the interview, where earlier he would not have. His fears would have prevented it. Any new such experiences give him not only new confidence, but allow for a give and take with other portions of the self, which will be quite aware of the changed status. So all of that is important. You yourselves, through following your impulses, changed your suggestions, and this was because the flow of experience directed you so that you followed the changes in Robert's psyche. You are as good as anyone else. Rob noted suggestions. They said a simple enough statement, yet behind it there are other issues. Robert needs the free time, meaning relaxed time, in which to allow the body's continued healing, and your new suggestions turned into all of the reasons behind the slowness of progress, as it seems to you. The great determination, for example, by itself tightened muscles. The event with your company, however, points rather dramatically toward important changes in Robert's mental patterns, and he has had reminiscent experiences since. I have told you that the changes are first mental, and therefore let me briefly give the reasons for Robert's ease and sense of freedom the evening that your neighbors were with you on the porch. You know what I am referring to. Robert felt like neighborly contact several times earlier that day. He felt that you would go alone, but on your own would prefer no company. That evening he followed his impulse. He felt proud of himself, and he spoke of matters he considered important. A feeling of peace filled him as he enjoyed the evening, and he forgot his physical problems. The drinks did further aid in the relaxation, but there was a freedom of expression, a trust of the self, a concentration away from the body, and a self-acceptance. These factors triggered that brief moment when Robert thought he could get up normally. That instant was important neurologically. Give us a moment. The arms and legs have been activated this week. The ankles and hands also. Robert has exercised often because separate portions of the body were ready for certain motions, while the overall balance for walking, for example, was not present. Since various areas of the body were changing at different rates, there will be periods when he feels like walking often and shortly, and they may be followed by periods when separate portions of the body may want to be exercised, say alone. The suggestions you are using now, however, are in concert with the current stage, and that means that if the two of you can stop worrying long enough, you will be met again by some vastly reassuring new walking attempts. You were quite correct last night. Incidentally, the knees have changed. So have the ankles. In the past 2 weeks, however, in particular, there were periods when the arms and the legs were both changing in their own fashions, so that Robert did not feel like walking, while he did feel like exercising. He had difficulty with his left leg and became upset, but the back leg muscles were exercising themselves. Nerve impulses between the spine and the toes were being regenerated, and that is further loosening the knee. Your new suggestions, however, are more potent than you realize, for you dared lend yourself to specifically cover those issues that have still bothered Gruber, and also added to your own concern. Take the break or end the session, as you prefer. Russet, take the break. It doesn't matter.